Hi, I'm Billi Maddox and welcome back to Bookbinding Basics Part 3. Today we're going to be making, or I'm going to show you how to stitch a pamphlet bind notebook. So let's get started. Now this pamphlet bind is similar to the notebook that I've made. This is where I keep all my notes for videos, this is editing notes, these are video ideas and whatnot. I've made this in what's called a saddle bind. It's very similar to this pamphlet bind, except that it's done with staples. This is actually easier than this staple bound book. So I've already taken the liberty of folding pages. You know how to fold pages. What I've done is created my little dummy page with 3 holes, which is what you're gonna need. What I always like to do is go an inch in from each of the extremes here and then find your middle also. So I've got a number of pages here folded in half. This is one signature. And something to use as a book cover. What I'm using is a half of a file folder that I've then folded in half again. I kind of like this little tab that stays exposed here. Now, also what I should say right at the start is that this notebook will be entered into a box of goodies, which will be given away. It'll be a giveaway to celebrate my 100 subscribers. There'll be a video on that and everything. So, you know, don't worry, I'm not giving you the details just yet. I'm not there just yet. So, okay, so let's get started. This is going to be stitched, so we're gonna need a needle, which I have here, and we're gonna need some heavy sort of thread. This is bookbinding thread. If you need to know the specifics of any of these things that I'm using, you can go to Bookbinding Basics Part 2. I will link down in the description, but then also at the end of the video, I'll link the full playlist of all of the episodes. I've done all the holes in my signature here already, off camera, but that's something that, you know, if you needed to watch me do it or explain it a bit more, it's in a previous episode. Now, what I like to do when I've got it all set up, before I start to get into binding, is actually running my needle through the entirety of the book, just to line everything up. You know, all the holes are already plugged in, so that's why you're not hearing anything punch through. Now you're gonna say to yourself, okay, we're gonna be binding this book. How much string do I need to use? What do I need to, how do I do this? Well, don't worry, we're gonna go over. Just to be on the safe side here, what I like to do when I get my string is I like to double, especially for one like this that goes back and forth a bunch of times. Usually it's one length of string per the length of your book here, the length of your spine. But let's go ahead and double that up. What I like to do is flatten out the end of my piece of string and get it to go through. Next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna make a knot at the end of your piece of string here. And that's just so that it doesn't go through the holes that we made. Now typically one should be enough, but I like to do 2. So let's make this one really tight, and we'll do another one really tight. And that way you know for sure it's not gonna get pulled through that center hole. We're gonna start in our middle hole here. Make sure that your cover's aligned, there we go. And you're gonna go right straight through that middle there. Pull it all the way. But you're gonna essentially see that what we end up doing is a little bit of a figure 8. So we're gonna come back up through this hole here at the bottom. Come back up through that hole. Pull it through. There we go. Pull that through. Make sure you don't pull too hard. Make sure it's taut, but don't pull too hard so that you don't pull that knot all the way through. That would be not very good. You see what this looks like now. It's nice and taut here, you know. Doesn't have to be too tight, but make sure it's tight. You don't want your book flapping around. I'm gonna move this knot over just a little bit, just so that I can see the hole. There we go. And I'm gonna go back up and through. Now we're back at the back of the book here. There we go. See how quick this is going. we are almost done. You want to make sure that it's taut. Again, don't pull too hard. You don't want to tear the pages, and you don't want to pull that knot through. We're going to go back up through our last hole here. Let me just show you this way. Back up through this hole. Make sure that we're coming out our pages. There we are. Pull this. You're going to yank this through. It takes a little bit. It's kind of tough. Okay. And now we've got our book essentially bound. Now what we want to do is you're going to make a knot now here in the middle again. So you're going to end up with 2 little knots. So now that you're at this stage, you're going to want to go underneath this stitch here and pull this tight, and that's sort of going to hook onto that stitch. You're going to go back underneath here just to sort of make a loop there, and now you're going to tie it off. So I'm going to tie it off, back going underneath here, up and over, and then through here, and we're going to make a knot. And I'm going to go ahead and double that up once again, just so that it's nice and secure. So this is a basic sort of stitching knot, I suppose. Here we go. There we go. And there we go. We're going to cut this. I tend to like to leave a little bit of string in there, just sort of shows that you've done it yourself. It's also a good sort of reminder to yourself when you go and you make this again. I'm going to go pull this through, back over and through this way, so that it sits a little better. There we go. That sits a little better, it sits a little flatter. And flatten it down a little bit, you know, it's going to want to go into that little hole. But there we go. Easy peasy. Look, got a notebook. It's all set, ready to go. You want to give this a final little fold down. There we go. And there you go. You've got a usable notebook now. And this is the pamphlet bind. Now, thanks so much for watching. Please do all those lovely YouTube things. I'm going to leave, at the end of the video, you'll be linked to the full playlist of all the other bookbinding basic videos, so go ahead and watch those if you want to sort of learn more. And thanks so much. Roll the video.